Jody Holland here with the Psyche of Success vlog. Glad to have you guys back on. If you haven't already subscribed, love you to do that. Today we're going to be talking about priority management. I know what you're thinking, but I just want to manage my time. Well, that's kind of an impossibility because time is a finite resource. There's only so much that you have. So make sure you've subscribed if you haven't already. Make sure you share this vlog after you watch it with your friends. Make sure you subscribe or like me on Facebook, Jody Holland Training and Speaking, and follow me on Twitter at Jody and Holland. So let's get into priority management. Alvin Toffler coined the term information overload, but that was in the 1970s, the early 1970s. In 2006, you fast forward a whole bunch of years, the Financial Express magazine indicated that the average executive has just over 2 hours of interruptions per day, or 28% of their day consumed by interruptions. Fast forward a little bit further, when we're recording this, it's 2017. I would say that the average executive is now being interrupted somewhere in the neighborhood of 350 times per day, or roughly 50% of their entire day. Here's the struggle. Once a person is interrupted from a psychology and a focus standpoint, it takes approximately 25 minutes for them to become fully focused again. That means nobody is fully focused. If we're interrupted all the time, we're bouncing from this thing to that thing to this thing to that thing. You can look at time with that limited resource and think, golly, if I'm being interrupted that much, what am I actually getting done? Accountability International says, well, you're working about 5.6 hours out of every 8 hours. You're working 6.2 hours out of every 12 hours that you work. So a 12-hour shift isn't expanding our productivity, it's diminishing it. So then you go, well, okay, I can't just work more and get more done because there's a point of diminishing return. So you start looking at what you put into your time. Time, as a bank, is 86,400 seconds per day. Let's say, for example, that you were given $86,400 and told at the end of the day, whatever was left over that you didn't spend, just gone. You don't get to keep it. You don't get to take it with you. You would start thinking, man, I'm spending this money. I'm buying a Maserati today, I'm doing this tomorrow, and every day you would live to the fullest of the capacity of that $86,400. For us with time though, we often look at what we're doing and we go, it's just, 30 minutes, it's just an hour, it's just this, it's just that. But once it's gone, it's gone. So a few tips to start with on how you control your time are: first, give yourself a timeout. I try to tell myself every day to spend 30 minutes planning. For me, it works best if I do it at the end of the day. For some people, maybe you do better in the morning, you may want to focus in the morning. Turn your phone off, disconnect the internet, and focus on reviewing what happened the day before, or if it's the end of the day that you're in, and what do you need to accomplish the next day. When you take that planning time and go through the previous and plan the next, what you do is you get a list of things to get done. I can attest to the fact that when I create a list of my top 3 things to do, I accomplish significantly more than when I don't do a list. My planning time is critical. So that 30 minutes that is spent or invested in that planning helps to eliminate the waste that's out there. Second, boss your technology. Do not let your technology boss you. Turn off a lot of the notifications that are irrelevant. You can be in a typical management meeting and you'll hear ding, buzz, all these different crazy sounds that are going on. And you're like, seriously, I don't need to know every time someone posted on your Facebook wall. I want to know what we're talking about right now. Learn to control the technology, turn the notifications off. They don't have to be there. If you allocate the amount of time you'll spend on that thing, then you'll invest your time fully in that, and then you'll go to do other things. I'm a big limiter of television. I like television, but I don't want to watch a lot of it. I was told early on in my life that rich people have big libraries. Poor people have big TVs. So I didn't want to have a big TV at first, so I didn't have a TV at all. Turns out when you get married, I think a TV is a good idea. Every now and then you bond over a show, things like that. So I've learned to allocate the amount of time that I'll spend being entertained by television. I allocate specific time for vlogs, for podcasts, for things like that where I get to learn from other people, just like you're doing. I also allocate specific amounts of time for reading, for going to seminars. I put my time in its place. I'm looking for the things that I need to be doing that keep my priorities strong. The third thing that you do to control your time is you strategically design your meetings. Don't invite people that are irrelevant because you don't want to waste their time. Have an agenda for your meeting and have a definite end time no matter what. If you'll do that with your meetings, you'll stop being consumed by those meetings. The average executive is going to 62 meetings a month now. That is ridiculous. And I would argue if you talk to that average executive, they would say that at least 35 of those are kind of pointless. They shouldn't have been invited. People just invited them because they didn't want them to be left out. So they included them. The fourth is create good boundaries. You've got to make sure that you protect your time from people that are consuming it that are not helpful. About 6 years ago, I set a New Year's resolution to stop hanging out with people I didn't like. Seemed like a pretty good resolution, and it was one that I believed I could stick with. And I did. I had a guy that wanted to meet with me every week and complain for an hour. So I finally, the next time he called me, and I wasn't getting paid, by the way, and my mission statement includes getting paid, so he said, "Hey, are we gonna get together?" And I said, "Nope." And that was the last time I talked to him. It was that simple. So I started setting boundaries to not allow people to consume my time that were not benefiting me or that weren't listening to the advice that I was giving them. My daughter described those people as ask holes. They ask for advice, but they're not going to listen anyway. So, how about now? When you start looking at the things that you want to get done, you have to ask yourself, when would now be a good time to get moving forward? When you make decisions, when you decide on doing something, take action. We can't procrastinate and think we're going to move forward. So if you decide that you want to become the world's greatest cyclist, buy a bicycle. If you don't go buy the bicycle and start cycling today, chances are you'll never get it done. If you want to be the world's greatest leader, buy a book, read the book, go to vlogs, learn from other people that are already there. Whenever you make a decision, take an action. That way you start moving yourself forward and investing time in the thing that you said was important. There is a principle out there known as the Pareto Principle. Vilfredo Pareto was an Italian economist, and what he originally said is that 20% of people in Italy own 80% of the property. He then started looking further at it and he went, man, 20% of people accomplish 80% of the results. 20% of the things I do create 80% of my results. So I created the Rule of 5 as a result of that Pareto Principle. The Rule of 5 says this: there are 5 or fewer things that you will do every single day that will generate success for you. So if you'll take out a piece of paper, draw a line down the middle, and on the left-hand side put a dollar sign, and on the right put a minus sign. When you set your paper up this way, you can write up to 5 things under the dollar sign. Then I want you to write down everything else that you do during your day. Make a complete list. Emails, forwarding jokes, all of it. List all of that stuff and then go back to the left and say, as long as I start on the left, I will always find success. To me, managing time is about eliminating things that don't matter so that you get to the essentialist view of the 5 or fewer most important things for you to be successful. That's the way you manage the priorities that go into your day. So I want to challenge you on this vlog. Write down that list. 5 or fewer things that you need to do every single day to be successful at whatever it is that you do. And then a list of everything else. And from this point forward, start on the left. Do those 5 things before you do anything else, and you too will find a lot of success. This is Jody Holland on the Psyche of Success vlog. If you haven't picked up your copy of Yay, I'm a Supervisor, oh man, I'm a Supervisor, pick it up. We're almost done going through this book and we'll be ready to start another one. Make sure you subscribe, follow me on Twitter at Jody N. Holland, like me on Facebook for Jody Holland Training and Speaking, and for goodness sake, manage what goes into your time. Protect your time, it's valuable. We'll see you on the next vlog.